What's the worst case of princess behavior you've ever seen? Story 1. At a previous job, me and some random girl were involved in calculating a bill. She told me I'm a lady, I don't do math. Story 2. My cousin was given a brand new Mustang on her 16th birthday. She demanded that my uncle return it and get her another one because she didn't like the color. So he drove 3 hours away to another dealer to get her the color she wanted. She refused to go with him because she said she had better things to do. None of this is surprising because she's been catered to her entire life. However, my uncle, who is really laid back and funny guy, made a pit stop at a body shop and had them add Veruca Salt in big bold letters across the bottom of the windshield. She was furious and demanded they remove it, but my uncle simply told her that if she did anything to get rid of it, he would sell the car and she was welcome to buy one with her own money, so she dealt with it. Story 3. I watched a college princess empty an entire shelf of wine Hulk style at Bevmo at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday because they couldn't sell her a pack of Corona. First, she was upset because she cut in line and everyone was bullying her for it. She was frustrated nobody understood why her time was more precious than ours. Then, the cashier was being racist because he couldn't sell her the beer. Couldn't, not wouldn't. She was under 21, U.S. They're both white, by the way. She starts to whine and stomps her feet like a child. When that didn't work, she started crying and pulls the "they always sell it to me at the other store" card. Cashier is done with college princess. He calls out the manager. The manager tells Princess she will not be purchasing alcohol that day or any other day until her 21st birthday. It was like the manager said the incantation to summon a banshee. Princess let out a shriek that could be heard 2 states away, ran over to a full shelf of wine and started slamming every bottle she could reach onto the floor. By the time the police came, her legs and feet were covered in blood and glass, all because they wouldn't break the law and sell her beer. Story 4. My sister wanted everyone in her wedding party to do a 6 a.m. yoga class on the day of her wedding. Everyone was tanked at the rehearsal dinner the night before. No one wanted to get up at 6 a.m. We all told her way ahead of time we all hated this idea. She stomped her foot about it anyway. There was puke. Just to add, she asked me to be her MOH when I was working in the Philippines, and she was home in upstate New York. I told her I couldn't commit to the responsibility of being maiden of honor. She said she couldn't believe I wouldn't move home for something like this. We didn't talk for 4 months. I did end up going to the wedding, but as a normal guest. She still tried to make me do the yoga class. I refused. She didn't speak to me at all on her wedding day. I was okay talking to the other 300 people there. Story 5. I work at a clothing store. One night, 15 minutes before closing, a group of 4 come in. I proceeded to tell them that we were 15 minutes before closing, to which one of them replied, "We will only take a minute." Nope, not a minute, not even 10. They left the store 40 minutes after closing, all because the daughter, whom I presume was in her mid-20s, needed to find an outfit for a photo shoot. The entire time she was in the changing room, she would throw the items she didn't feel good in at one of our associates. When she finally decided she wasn't going to purchase anything, she had left a whole rack of clothing, which if we were still open wouldn't have been an issue, but after 40 minutes of being closed, the other associate and I had already finished recovering the store for the night. She finished it off by complaining to her boyfriend that it was his fault she didn't like anything because he didn't compliment her in any of the items. She literally stomped out with her arms crossed and pouted. Story 6. My 17-year-old coworker is a spoiled little brat. She's a cashier, and if the queue gets too long, both of us will have to go on till to serve. Yet instead, she hides in the kitchen and leaves me to a massive queue. Oh, and every time I take my break and we're both on shift together, she hides under the ice cream machine for the entire 30 minutes rather than serve customers. She used to pull me off of my break to please serve them every 2 minutes until I told her, do it yourself. And she chucked a scream-crying tantrum. Story 7. I was in the line waiting for the Hulk roller coaster at Island of Adventures in Florida. There were these 2 teenage girls in front of me. When they got to the front of the line, they asked to be set in the very front row. There's a separate line dedicated for the first row, and the park employee told them this. They kept showing the employee their fast passes and demanded to be set in the very front row. The park employee set them in the very last row instead, and both of the girls threw a temper tantrum. I couldn't really believe it. We were already in the fast pass line, so instead of waiting 2 hours, we only had to wait about 30 minutes. I got the idea that the girls weren't used to being told no. Story 8. I work at a library and someone wanted a library card. Okay, great. Just fill out this short application on this kiosk. Takes only a few minutes. Simple stuff like name, address, birthday, email, etc. She didn't want to. Can we do it for her? It's too much work. Now, if someone has an actual reason to ask us to do it for them, we can enter all of that manually. No problem. But in this case, she told my coworker, I don't want to do all that work. And my coworker said, I guess you don't want a library card then, either. Story 9. My ex had a full-out temper tantrum that her parents sent her a Louis Vuitton handbag worth $10K or so, not the luggage set. She was lying on the floor, kicking and screaming. It was strange. Rich people problems, I gather. Story 10. A girl in her late 20s threw a massive temper tantrum because I refused to change shifts with her. Basically, she wanted me to work 10 straight days and 2 double shifts because she wanted to go to a summer festival. We were short-handed already due to a colleague being taken to an emergency heart surgery. Luckily, my front desk supervisor and hotel manager had my back on this. She was told to resign shortly thereafter. Story 11. There was a girl at my university who wanted an on-campus job to cover her expenses. She threw a fit when the receiving department did not select her, no bias against her. She complained to the school and reported the receiving manager for being sexist and not giving the job to a girl who has never lifted anything apart from her handbag. The manager did budge and hired her. She stormed out 2 days later, calling the department unfair towards women who couldn't lift 20 pounds every day. Story 12. My roommate in college got sick one time, had a mild flu. I'm a mother hen type, so I got her to the hospital during a blizzard. Got her meds and generally was taking care of her. I thought she would thank me or something, but instead she asked me if I could feed her soup. I said, I think you can handle it, and bounced as fast as I could for the next couple of days. Edit. A lot of people are focusing on the hospital thing, which wasn't my princess example. It was expecting me, someone she has known for 6 months at this point, to feed her soup because she was sick. Story 13. Was dating this chick for a few months. We make plans to hang out and cook dinner at my house after work. So I text her saying I'm heading home from work and I'm gonna hop in the shower real quick. She replies that she'll start heading to my place, so I put my phone in my room and hop in the shower. Then I start prepping things for dinner. It's been an hour since she said she was on her way and she hasn't shown up. So I go back to my room and check my phone. A few missed calls and a bunch of messages from her. She had shown up to my house, stood at the front door, but because my phone was in my room, I didn't hear any of her calls or texts, so she left and went back home. She didn't ring the doorbell or knock because she is a lady. Tells me she can't believe I wasted her time. A 29-year-old princess that is too good to even knock on the door of the guy she's dating. I thought it was a joke.